What is up everyone, Movie Wayne back again with another end of the month vlog. This is me talking about all the stuff that I've watched in the month of November 2021. Now I usually like to watch as many titles as possible, at least 20. But this is probably my lowest month that I've had since I started doing YouTube. Because I've got a newborn baby in the house now. And it's so difficult to watch things when he's really unsettled, when he's crying a lot. I mean, sometimes we sit down about to watch a movie and he'll start crying and you can't hear what's going on, so you're going to have to pay attention to him and stuff. And in the end, you just give up and say, okay, we'll watch one tomorrow night. But I still watched 17 titles. It's not too bad, considering we've got to pick our moments now. Even when you get them moments, sometimes you're just really tired and you can't really... you can't really get the motivation to invest yourself into a movie. So yeah, it's tough. We've been watching a couple of TV shows, but I haven't finished them yet. But there's like an episode or two to go on each one of them, so I'll probably talk about them next month. But sometimes we're just watching episodes because they're like half an hour long and stuff, and just a little bit easier there. And it is the hardest thing I've ever done. It's really difficult. No one can prepare you for how hard this is. But I wouldn't swap him for the world. I love him so much. It's just one of them. Hopefully next month will be better. Hopefully he's getting a little bit more settled now. So yeah, hopefully I get a few more titles watched there. But it's just while he's small and while he's a newborn, it's not uncommon for these babies to, tire you out, let's say. Now, some of these titles are on Blu-ray, some of them are on streaming, and some of them were at the cinema. Luckily we get people to mind them when we go to the cinema, so that's all good. We've got good family there who help us out. But these first two titles are on Blu-ray. Now I just want to say, this is on my list of movies that I hadn't watched. I've had this list for such a long time, and these two were the last on it, and they're from my least favourite genre, which is musical. Yes, and that's probably why I saved them to last. But I've got a whole new list now of all new movies I've bought, which will be in my next Blu-ray update, which will be coming probably the video after this video. But the first thing I watched was The Phantom of the Opera. This was actually given to me by my fiance's brother, because he just got rid of a load of Blu-rays and gave me like 30 Blu-rays like a year ago now or something, and this was one of them. Yeah, I mean, like I said, musicals isn't my favourite genre, and I couldn't get into this at all. I just couldn't. It was like a stage show on the screen, which just... If I'm going to watch it, I'd rather watch it on stage, to be honest. It was nice to see Jennifer Ellison in there, though. I used to watch Brookside all the time when I was younger, so that was a surprise. I haven't seen her in anything for a very long time, so that was a nice surprise to see her in here. There's some okay songs. I think the main one that everyone knows, The Phantom of the Opera, probably doesn't go like that, but that was the best moment in the movie. But I just couldn't really get into this. I'm not gonna lie, I probably won't watch it ever again. I know a lot of people do think that's a good movie. Next up, we had a better musical, and that is Sunshine on Leith. This is about two guys who come home from Afghanistan, and the movie focuses around their love life, basically. There's some great songs in here. The actors I think it's the guy off 1917. I forgot his name. The blonde-haired guy who's the main guy in that. George Mackay. Everything I see him in, he's really, really great. And this was no exception. I thought he was excellent in the movie. Yeah, one of the better musicals I think I've seen. Samantha's dad bought us this because he's a fan of it, and that's why I own it. But thanks to I really enjoyed this one. Much better than Phantom of the Opera. And believe it or not, this is not the last musical of the month. There is one more to go. And I'm really excited to talk about it. But that is Sunshine on Leith. Next up, we have a cinema release, and this is Eternals, the new Marvel movie that everyone hates. I really enjoyed this film. I don't get the hate at all. It's a little bit different compared to your average Marvel movie. Chloe Zhao does something different with the cinematography, I feel, and gives it a bit more of a serious tone, even though there are some funny moments. I enjoyed the characters here. There's like 10 or 12 characters that they have to flush stories out for, and I thought it was equaled up and divided nicely. I thought they all got good story arcs and stuff, bar one or two. Nice to see Angelina Jolie in the MCU. I thought it was an interesting film. Maybe it would have been better as a series, like a lot of people's suggestion, because there was a lot to cram into this film, but I thought they wrote it really well, actually. I thought the writers done well here. And I know a lot of people are saying they never, but I really do think they did to get all this into 2.5 hour film. I never got lost. I was fully invested, and I thought it was quite a clever story. I enjoyed it. Marvel have only made 2 movies that I haven't really liked. Iron Man 2, and believe it or not, Doctor Strange. Yes, I know a lot of people like that film, but it just wasn't for me. But I put this in like the middle somewhere of the Marvel rankings. I've got a full review for Eternals if you want to check it out. My review playlist will be down below. Next up we have, I think this is an 80s movie, and this is called Extro, a horror film that was on Amazon Prime. Now the reason I watched this is because I was doing an A to Z of horror movies, the best horror movies, A to Z. I've always wanted to do that video, but I never ever had anything for X. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do it because we were talking about it in our group chat. And I thought, you know what, this is meant to be the best one out of all the X's, so I'll just watch it and see what it's like. I really enjoyed it. It's a low budget horror movie, but you can see the effort's gone into this. This is why I like practical effects and stuff, because you can tell a lot of effort has gone into them. Even if they look bad sometimes, they're trying their best to get it right. And this is basically about this family, and the father goes missing. He was taken by a UFO. The kid says that he was taken by a UFO. No one believes the kid, obviously, and they think he's just done a runner. And like 3 years later, the dad comes back, and the mum's got a new boyfriend and stuff, so it's kind of awkward there. But there is more to it than that. Seeing this massive toy soldier come alive was quite fun, actually. It will be explained in the movie when you see it, but I thought this was a decent low-budget horror movie. I know there's a 2 and 3, maybe even a 4 there. I haven't watched them yet. But Extra was decent. I really enjoyed it. Took me by surprise. Nice, easy 90-minute movie if you want to watch it. It's on Amazon Prime. Next up is another movie beginning with X. Now, the reason I haven't put this in my A to Z of horrors is because I felt this was more of an adventure movie and science fiction more than a horror. This is the better out of the 2 X's that I watched. I wanted to even it up a little bit to make sure I wasn't being too biased just by watching Extra. But this is X, the man with the X-ray eyes. This was also on Amazon Prime, and this is basically about this guy who has this experiment going on, and he wants to put these drops in his eyes which will make him see through other items. So basically he's got X-ray eyes, and it works, but he goes way too far with it all, and it starts becoming a bit of a problem in his life and stuff. I thought this was a really, really good film from the 60s. It had this, I think it was 60s, it had this vintage feel to it, what you usually get from that era back then. It was a really, really fun movie to watch. It was simple but effective, and just told a nice story. Well, not nice, but a simple story, if you like. This was on Prime. It was like 80 minutes long, so definitely an easy watch, definitely worth a go. There's a Blu-ray out there I'd like to pick up, like this great edition of it, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. By the way, if you want to see that A to Z of horror video, that'll be down below. But yeah, Extra I went with because it was more horror focused. But this was probably the better of the 2 films. Next up is a brand new movie that got released on Netflix, and that is The Harder They Fall, starring Idris Elba, and I think his name is Jonathan Majors. And these 2 are the members of this gang, and one wants revenge on the other one. And I thought this was a very stylistic film, kind of like a Tarantino-esque movie. Some great witty dialogue in there, some fun characters to be around. I thought this movie was cool as hell, to be honest. And by the way, it looked absolutely amazing. I thought Netflix done a great job of making this look unbelievable on their streaming service in 4K and stuff. Very, very pristine look to it. Idris Elba wasn't really very good as a villain in this movie, though. I thought he was the weak point, because he just couldn't they tried to make him like this worst person in the world, and I just think, oh, Idris Elba's too nice of a guy. It wasn't coming across very well. Jonathan Majors, hope that's his name, I hope I'm getting that right, put this accent on as well as the other main character, and I couldn't understand the word he was saying sometimes, but everyone else in the movie was great. Yeah, so I really enjoyed The Harder They Fall. I've got a little bit of an extended review down below if you want to check that out in my review roundup video. Next up is Home Sweet Home Alone. This is on Disney Plus. They released sort of big original of the month, wasn't it? Yeah, I mean, the problem with this movie is these two characters who break into this little kid's house, they're not bad people. They are trying to get back something that belongs to them. And when they're getting hurt and stuff by the traps, you can't help but feel sorry for them because they don't deserve what they're actually receiving, all this violence. And they are in the right, and the kid is kind of the bad guy, if anyone's a bad guy here. And it just feels awkward to watch. There are some funny moments that don't involve that, though, where someone's standing on someone's face at the end of the movie to try and catch something. I thought I was in bits. I thought that was hilarious. But this is a very, very weak movie in this franchise. 1 and 2 are definitely the ones to watch. 3 is even better than this. Now, I give this movie a 5 out of 10. My full review down below if you want to check it out, but I think I might have been a little bit too forgiving. I think it's maybe a 4, but yeah, not a great film at all, really. Unfortunately, it's like Disney Plus just said, oh, we'll put this movie on there, it's got Home Alone in the title and everyone will watch it, and they're right, because that's what I done. It's kind of rushed. It feels like the movie is rushed. Next up is The Mighty Ducks 3, another film I watched on Disney Plus. Now, I watched the first two for the very first time a couple of months ago, and I've been meaning to get to this one, and I don't know why it's took me this long, but it just has. I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was a decent entry into the franchise. The only problem with it is George Bombay is hardly in this film because they get a new coach. And I really like Emilio Estevez playing this Bombay character. He's the best thing about these Mighty Ducks films for me. So to not see him in this one too much was kind of the weak point of the movie. But it's still decent. I think I enjoyed it still a little bit more than 2. I know everyone's favourite is 2. I think 1 and 3 are slightly better, but there's not much in them. But yeah, enjoyable sports movie, nice easy watch. Like I said, I didn't grow up with these films like a lot of my friends. I don't know why, but glad I finally watched them. And at the moment in time, I'm watching Game Changers. That is one of the series I'm watching, Mighty Ducks Game Changers. I'm enjoying it, but like I said, I've got 1 or 2 episodes left, so I'm going to talk about that more next month. Next up is another movie on Disney Plus, and that is The Night House. Now, I wanted to see this on cinemas, but I missed it. And when it was coming on, it was like 10 o'clock at night, and I wake up at 6:15 in the morning. So it wasn't really ideal for me to go and see it. I could have if I really, really pushed it, but I thought, you know what, I'll just wait for it to come out on Blu-ray or whatever, but it is actually on Disney Plus now. Jennifer Hall put a great performance in here. She's like this widow whose husband has killed herself, and she's trying to deal with it all, basically. But it shows you events leading up to it and stuff, and it's kind of creepy. There is some creepy moments in this because she's all alone in this night house. Does rely on jump scares a little bit later on, which is kind of annoying, and I do think the ending was a letdown. It just felt a little bit cheap and left me a little bit short-changed, if you like. I've got a full review for this, well, an extended review for this down below if you want to check it out, but Jennifer Hall is definitely the positive of this film. You can see the desperation on her face, her cries for help to other characters, the dread and this depression on her face because her husband's killed herself. She just done everything that was asked of her. I thought it was a great performance, one of the best I've seen all year. Next up is another new release, and this is Netflix's dearest ever, or most expensive movie they've ever made, and most watched, I believe, and that is Red Notice with The Rock, Gal Gadot, and Ryan Reynolds all on screen together, 3 of the biggest stars working today. I thought these 3 were great when together on screen. The chemistry, well, even when it's just The Rock and Ryan Reynolds, they really bounce off each other really well. It's basically about Dwayne Johnson trying to bring down Ryan Reynolds, who's this art thief, but Gal Gadot is this even bigger art thief who's trying to mingle in and, you know, snatch things off Ryan Reynolds while The Rock's pursuing him. Now, this is a fun film. It was an easy watch. It has a ton of problems, like green screen issues. You can just see it a mile off. There's some very, very far-fetched moments, like a rocket gets fired into a helicopter, and one character spins the helicopter around, so the rocket flies through one door and out the other side. Things like that. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't have fun with this. Just an easy popcorn flick, if you like, that you don't have to think too much about. There's some funny moments, like there's one moment where they go down into this Nazi underground bunker with all this memorabilia in, and Ryan Reynolds starts singing the Indiana Jones theme tune to himself. Yeah, so you can sort of expect some silliness in there. But I've got an extended review for this down below if you want to check it out as well. Next up is going to be my new release of the month, Ghostbusters Afterlife. A lot of pressure was put on Jason Reitman here because his dad has made such a loved movie from the 80s. And there's a lot of people in my YouTube community online there really looking forward to this movie. And I'm glad to see every one of them nearly were just so happy with it. Now, I'm a Ghostbusters fan myself, not as big as some of those guys, but I thought this movie was great. It's in my top 10 of the year on Letterboxd, I think. McKenna Grace was the star of this movie, and she's like 14 or something, but she carried, well, I wouldn't say she carried the film, but she was definitely the biggest positive for me as Egon Spengler's granddaughter. What a performance by her. Basically it's her and her family. They go to this house that's been left to them by Egon, and it's all in the countryside and stuff, which I thought was a good location change from New York. We've had 3 movies there now, and it definitely needed a shake up. There's a good script at heart here. Everything just worked out, and it had such a good emotional ending. Especially big Ghostbusters fans it's gonna hit them in the feels, definitely. So really, really good movie. Got a full review for it down below if you want to check it out. Next up is another new release. I don't want to talk too much about this because I'm going to be doing it in a review roundup, but that is Finch, starring Tom Hanks. It's basically him, this robot, and a dog walking around this wasteland because the world has, in fact, come to an end, basically. It's a post-apocalyptic film, and he makes this robot so it is capable of looking after his dog when he dies because Tom Hanks is dying. And the robot is such a great character. It's fun to see them two argue a lot throughout the film. I thought it was a really fun movie. Some emotional moments. Good story, basically. It's nothing amazing or anything spectacular, but it's a good film. So yeah, I'll go more into detail on that when I do my review. Next up is another one that is going to be in that review roundup, which is coming in a week or two. So I don't want to go into too much detail, but that is Black Friday. And I actually watched this on Black Friday. This has got Devon, I forgot the guy's name. It's Devon something. He's in the new Chucky series now. He was in Final Destination. He was in Eminem's Stan video. Devon, I'm really sorry. You know that guy though. And it's also got Bruce Campbell in from The Evil Dead. So I thought this could be decent. Decent little cast there. And it's basically about a zombie outbreak in a toy store where these guys work. It's could have been better. I mean, you've got a decent little concept there. But on the other hand, you've seen this movie before. Even if it's not this one, you've seen it before. This has been done a few times now. Better as well. The effects in here were kind of lame. I know I do like practical effects and stuff, but yeah, I just think they could have been better. I don't know if that's the whole point, because Bruce Campbell is the B-movie king, isn't he? So maybe it was put away like that on purpose, but I don't think it looked anything special. The characters are dull and boring. This movie isn't very good. I didn't really enjoy it. I was just kind of bored throughout. It's not a good movie. That was Black Friday. Next up is another Blu-ray. And I seen Leon and John from Mondo Chelovic Movies, whose links I'll leave down below, talk about this film. I thought it looked terrible when it come out. But when I heard them talk about it, I thought, well, I'm kind of interested in that. And then they 101 Films had a sale, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to grab it, and that is Tammy and the T-Rex. It's got Denise Richards and Paul Walker in when they're very young, and basically, are you ready for this story now, what it's about? Paul Walker is dating Denise Richards, and Denise Richards' ex-boyfriend doesn't like it, so he starts to pick on Paul Walker, and I can't remember if they kill him or something. I think they do, but yes, or they leave him for dead or some. You'll see when you see the movie. Paul Walker dies anyway, and this is at the start of the film, so don't worry. Then they put Paul Walker, and it's on the back of the case, by the way. Then they put Paul Walker's brain into this robotic T-Rex, and the T-Rex comes after them and seeks revenge. Just ridiculous, but absolutely hilarious and fun to watch. Such good entertainment. Really like Denise Richards' friend in this. He was hilarious. I really enjoyed it. Look at that cover art as well, by the way. That is just immaculate. If you want some cheesy pop, easy watch fun from the 80s, that's just ridiculous, and it's so bad it's good. Watch this. It's definitely worth picking up from 101 Film. By the way, each one of these 101 films that I've watched, I've really enjoyed. I picked another couple of this month as well. That'll be in my Blu-ray update. Next up, we have my older pick of the month, La La Land on 4K. Now, this is another musical. I've watched 3 musicals this month, considering I don't like musicals. And I didn't think I thought I might like this because I've heard so much praise about it, but I didn't think I'd like it as much as I did. And like I said, it's my older pick of the month. This movie is absolutely fantastic. A brilliant lead director film from Damien Chazelle. I've seen 2 films by him now, and they've both been absolute bangers. Whiplash and this, so I'm gonna have to check First Man out now. Slowly becoming one of my favourite directors, even though I've only seen 2 films. This film is visually stunning. There's not as much music in it as I thought there'd be, because it's a musical. I thought, there'll be a song every 2 minutes, but no, this definitely focuses more on telling the story. I know you can tell stories by song, but it doesn't rely on that. I think there's only like 3 or 4 songs in this film. Emma Stone, Ryan Gosling, brilliant. Emma Stone is just unbelievable in everything I see her in these days, and this is probably her best performance ever, I feel. I mean, she was great in Cruella, but I really liked her in this. Ryan Gosling is great as well. I love it. I love this movie. There's a montage scene at the end as well that is just amazing. If you don't like musicals, still give this a go. You might enjoy it. So that is La La Land. I'm really, really happy to own it in 4K. Next up, I done a top 10 movies I have never seen list, which I'll leave down below as well if you wanna watch it. And this one was in it, so I went and bought it on Blu-ray just after doing that video, and that is Rihanna Meter. This is a fun 80s cheese fest basically about this guy, something Herbert James. What's his name? Something Herbert West, and he has the ability with this serum he's come up with to bring the dead back to life. And when they come back to life, they're kind of like zombies and start attacking people, kind of like Pet Sematary a little bit. But there's some great practical effects in here. I really love that guy walking around with his own, he's got his own head in his hand, in his hands there. It's just really funny to watch. I had a good time with this. It's a little bit dated, but I enjoyed it, and I can see why it's so well respected as a horror classic. I want to grab Bride of Rihanna Meter now, and I think there's another one, Revenge of Rihanna Meter or something. I know Arrow have done them. This has got a different cover as well, but I went for this cover art. I'll show you the other cover art in my Blu-ray update, but I just preferred this one. I'm so happy I own this now. I'm so happy to see it. I might do a horror review on this and return to it one day, because it's a classic and a lot of people love it. And last up, we have Rocky IV Director's Cut, Rocky vs. Drago. Now, I do plan on doing a full review on this. I've wrote my script out and stuff, so I'll be filming it in a few days. But I definitely thought this was a great cut from Sylvester Stallone. He put his heart and soul into this. He thought it was going to take him 3 weeks, and 9 months later, he was still editing the damn thing. It's definitely more brutal, especially the Apollo and Drago fight. It feels more realistic. There's less montage scenes. Even though they're still in there, they're not every 5 minutes. The 80s cheese is sort of taken out of it. Paulie's robot isn't there no more. So it's definitely more serious in approach and tone. And the fights, like the Apollo Drago one and the Rocky vs Drago, were definitely constructed better. It's just, I don't know if I prefer this, but I think over time I will, because this is more of a movie than the theatrical cut we got. That theatrical cut is good, and it's one of my most rewatched films ever. That's why I want to do a full review on it. But it's definitely like an MTV video, if you like. This is definitely a more professional cut. So I really enjoyed that. I'm really happy I went to cinema to see this. So yeah, that is Rocky IV Director's Cut. No, thank you so much everyone for watching this video. What do you think of these titles that I watched this month? Sorry I didn't watch more, but like I said, newborn baby, it's kind of hard at times. But if you want to comment down below about any of these films, leave it there and I will reply to you all. I promise. Hopefully I can get a few more movies and watch next month. There are some 2021 titles I really want to squeeze in before the end of the year, like Lamb, Titan, you know, Army of Thieves. Still haven't watched that one yet, so hopefully I can get them all out, because I do want to do a full ranked list of every single 2021 movie I watched this year. That should be a fun video to make. So yeah, thank you so much everyone. Take it all easy. See you all in the next video.